Good recording. With that, I'll leave you guys in the safe hands of Safia. Good luck. Enjoy your lesson. Bye-bye.
Okay, Shakir, you can go ahead.
Good evening, people. Hope you guys are well. Hope everyone has eaten supper already. And for those who are concerned, hope you have taken your spliff already. Nevertheless, let us go straight into it. Firstly, apologize from Erudite Projects for the delay. We're learning Google Meets, but we will get used to it as we go along. So we're going to start off by saying what is drug abuse? Obviously, drug addiction, drug abuse. It is the chronic relapsing brain disease characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use despite harmful consequences. So we're just going to break that definition up quickly. All right. Chronic relapsing brain disease. So obviously, once you start using drugs, it becomes a disease. You're going to have to need medication to get off it. You're going to need rehab to get off it, and many other things. And then it's compulsive drug seeking. You need it. It no more becomes just a habit where a person goes and casually they have a weekend, a good weekend, or just once a week or once a month. It's something which becomes daily afterwards, ultimately, and then you're going to make sure that you want it despite all the harmful consequences that come with it. So drug addiction is huge. If we look at just South African statistics, 1 in 5 people are addicted to drugs. Now, let's just do a little bit of maths here. 1 in 5 means 20%. If we are 61 million South Africans, it means 12,200,000 people are addicted to drugs. Wow. It could be anyone. It could be our neighbor. It could be our family member. It could be our spouse. This is how bad drug disease is. Next slide, please. So our objectives here, firstly, in order for us to understand what drug abuse is, wait, before, why am I doing this? Before we go on further, who can we ask? There's 5 others here. Let's see. Moya Beng. Moya Beng, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you explain to me what's the difference between drug abuse or drug addiction and just addiction like that?
I can try.
Please try.
Okay.
There's no right or wrong answer.
Evening, everyone, even Fatim. Okay. According to me, the drug abuse or the drug addiction, I think is someone who misuse it. Like maybe you drink. Let's talk about alcohol. You drink alcohol every day. That means you abusing alcohol. So you have an addiction. Or like these days, there is a drugs that they're selling everywhere. Then the children started little bit maybe by smoking dacha. Then you go so on, and be addiction in all the drugs that is here. We can mention it.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, so there is a difference, a slight difference, where drug abuse is obviously the misuse of the drugs, right? You're using whether it be illicit or illicit. So when you say illicit, you're talking of over the counter. For example, if I say Alcofalex or Bronclear or anything that has codeine, you're going to be able to get that at any chemist or drug store, as they call it in other places. And addiction is something that you are addicted to, whether it be drugs, whether it be gossip, whatever it may be. Some people are just addicted to drama. wherever they go, it's like, why the hell is the sky so blue? You understand? So
Yes, yes.
those are addictions on its own. But here we try to understand drug addiction. How does, and obviously our objective of this workshop is, in a South African context, if you can mute yourself, please. In a South African context, how does it affect us? What are the risk groups, the signs and effects, preventions and treatment, role of the social worker, and that's where it involves us the most. All right, next slide, please. So what is drug addiction? As we've mentioned right in the beginning, it's a chronic brain disease. All right, a person just starts off, as we said again, we mentioned in the beginning, a person starts off casually. One day they go out, whether it be through peer pressure or whether it be through experiments, the person will say, let's just try this out. One is your drugs. The most common drug at the moment in South Africa is, we all call it dagga. In a very diplomatic way, they say cannabis or marijuana. Depends on what you want, what you want to call it. And then after that, and then equally to that, or even more than that, is alcohol. So alcohol abuse is a whole different story altogether, yet it falls in the same category. And addiction now is your compulsive drug use, where you need to have it, where you want to have it, no matter what, I can't do without it. And this is now, as we will explain further on later, where it affects the family, where it affects everyone, the society, etc. And believe it or not, we lose control. So to such an extent where a person can shoot his own spouse, the person can shoot his own mother. There's no differentiation between who is who. I need my fix and I need it now. And continuous use of it despite any harm. So I know it's going to hurt the family. I know I'm going to lose money. I know this is going to happen to me, and I'm just going to have a complete breakdown and meltdown. I still need my fix. Nothing matters, only my fix. So why it matters in South Africa? The high youth unemployment. If you look at the amount of children that are unemployed because they cannot keep a job. They get a job. Some of them are absolutely brilliant. Some of them are absolutely high functioning minds. They get a job, and they get a high flying job as well, and a high paying job. But they cannot be consistent because they need their fix. So they go in, they use cocaine, those who are rich. They go in, they use cocaine, they use rocks, and whatever else that money can buy, they use it, and they can't concentrate on work. And sometimes the drug gives them such a huge amount of brains. They become like, Meg, and they have huge brains, and they can high function, and they'll get this sale and that sale, and they'll rock it at work, as we say. But they cannot be consistent, because the more you use, the more you chase. And it's the chase that we are looking for from the beginning. That first time, the way it made us feel, and we'll discuss as we go further what's the feeling. But the first chase that we felt, or the first feeling that we had, we're going to start chasing after that all the time. Another problem is it's easy accessible. I was sitting with a family member once, may be granted good, but he was, and I was just chilling. And when I looked back, I saw this massive dagga tree. And I was like, whoa, bro, I need some of that. I didn't smoke it, but I kept it, right? We put it in epoxy. Anyway, it's easy accessible. Anyone can get it everywhere you go, every corner. We live in Actonville. If you can't find a certain drug here, you won't find it anywhere in South Africa. That's obviously it's exaggerated, but yes. And then community violence. How does community violence? Because of territory. This group wants to sell here, the other group wants to sell there. And because they are imposing on each other's territory, they become violent towards each other. And obviously family disruption. And this is how we how it matters to us as a community at large in South Africa. Next slide, please. Okay, so the different types of drugs that you get. Let's go to questions before we go. You can go back one slide, please. Who can I ask? Sepiso. Can you hear me? Sepiso Lebisi. Sophia, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you tell me the different types of drugs that we have?
Uppers,
You saw that, obviously.
downers,
If there's a up, there has to be a down.
inhalants.
Can you explain a bit?
That's like aerosol stuff.
Okay.
Stuff that gets sniffed in, gases.
Leanne, can you explain some?
Yes, I can, but I'm not sure which one fits where. But
Doesn't
I
matter.
know a few drugs actually. So for example, you get crack, you get
I'm going to ask
heroin.
you, how do you know?
We actually did a presentation a while ago, so we did some research on it. So yeah, so it's basically crack, it's heroin, it's crystal meth. Then you get obviously your dacha, like you said, marijuana. There is a few that you can also inject. For example, crystal meth you can sniff and you can inject it. And then there's a way that you can also cook the what's it called? It's white. I've got the name, but now you asked me too quick. It's a
Cocaine.
white powder, cocaine. So there's a way that
Cocaine.
you can also yes, cocaine. There's a way that you can cook it as well on a spoon to inject it. Apparently, it gives you a better high than actually sniffing it. Then you get poppers. That's just basically a pill that you put under your tongue that also makes you very high. Um, now I forgot half of them, but those are the ones that I can recall.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's not a problem. No problem. Thank you. Excellent.
Sorry,
Okay, so
Fatima, I'm back. Yo, I was struggling. I was seeing things on my screen on the go and
okay, so
what,
those
but
are
I
called
managed to get the mic.
hallucinogens. The things that you see are called hallucinogens, but we'll get to that later. Is that a problem? Okay, so we can go to the next screen and stimulants. I'm going to read obviously straight from the slide, but we'll explain as we go along. So stimulants, these are uppers. They make you hyper. They make you lekker. They make you feel like Captain America and Batman all put in one. You understand? In fact, you can take all of them all on. And they speed up the activity of the brain and the nervous system. It increases your energy. You are highly alert. Your heart rate is pumping. Instead of your heart rate going tick, 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 it goes brrr. You understand? And it what you call it, it decreases or increases your blood pressure, The examples of this is obviously your cocaine makes you feel good, makes you feel well, you can make the business, you can do this, you can do that. And then your methamphetamines, known as meth or ice, right? They come in small bollikis, which you also have to crush and smoke. Then you get speed. Surprisingly, caffeine, for those of us that are addicted to coffee, caffeine, and for the nicotine, I have to block my face. For those of us that are addicted to cigarettes, and then you get ecstasy, and the effects are euphoric. It's absolutely, like I said, you feel like Batman and Captain America all in one, and you can somehow have Wolverine, whatever. You can take on the world. That's exactly, and don't ask me how I know, but this is what I've read, I'm sure. Increased confidence, but you do get agitated. And one of the biggest effects of this year is going to be insomnia. Why? Because you're highly functional. You can't stop thinking. You want to literally go and save the world, or you want to go and fix your car that was lying there for 2 years. But you need to do this, and I have to do it. So this is the effect of cocaine. And guess what? When it dies down, you are down. When it dies down, it's gone. The only way to fix it is I need more. May God keep us safe. Next slide, please. That's your stimulants. Then you get your depressants, your downers. It slows you down. It makes you numb. It's central nervous system producing a calming, sleepy, and reduced inhibition effect. So your examples, alcohol and whatever that name is, that's your Xanax and Valium and the different types of drugs that you get. And that's your higher schedule drugs, maybe for perhaps schedule 4, schedule 6, etc. Right? It gives you relaxed. You don't have to feel anything. Why are you shouting? Why are you like this? Don't worry, just smile. Come and smoke here with me. Decreased coordination, dizziness, lowered blood pressure. Next. Then you get the opioids. Opioids from the poppy seed, synthesized. And the examples of this is your heroin, your morphine, fentanyl. These are commonly used drugs, especially in the South America region as well, and the Asian region as well, because from what I hear, I don't want to become a news reporter, but Afghanistan grows the best poppy seeds, and that's why America went in. But anyway, that's not our trump card. Anyway, if you know, you know. And the effects of this here is intense euphoria. It releases pain. A person that, it's just amazing. I had this pain all my life, and now suddenly I found this person or this drug that can release the pain, and it sedates you. You are knocked out, and your breathing just is calm, and you slow breathing, and all of those things. Yeah, so these are the first three, and they're not first three for nothing. Let's go to the next slide, please. Then you get your hallucinogens. That's when you see things on the screen. As Moya Beng was saying, or what's the name? Whoever.
It's not me, it's Chapito.
I wasn't hallucinating.
Nevertheless. Okay. So yeah, you've come to the right place for drug abuse workshop. Hallucinogens, all right? And they also call psychedelics. These drugs alter a person's perception of reality, affect senses, and causing users to see, hear, or feel things that are not actually there. And mushroom use, people actually see other people. I mean, the one guy, he told me, you know what? I was sitting and I just saw Julia Roberts smiling at me, and I was like, wow. What did she say? He said, no, she was smiling, and I smiled back. Yeah, so you hallucinate, you see things, you hear things. There's not this one, but the other ones. The one ill effect that I have seen on a friend of mine is they become extremely paranoid, extremely restless as well. But there are definitely two extremes. One is amazing things that you see things crawling on your body, you see things, it's like you're living in a 3D movie. And the other is extreme paranoid, where you hear things coming towards you and suddenly you know what a tokulosh and a jinn is. Yeah, so distorted sense of time, spiritual experience. You just feel like, oh, everything is calm, and yes, and everyone is just on the ship, and we are just sailing. And you really, from what I hear again, I'm saying from what I hear, because I didn't try it yet. Let's not go there. So yeah, and increase heart rate, obviously, because you are high functioning. And then obviously also when there is increased heart rate, you're going to have insomnia. Next slide. Cannabis. Everybody's favorite, cannabis. Now it's becoming so desensitized, they use it on video, on movies. Video is an old word, but anyway, on movies. They use it on movies and series where the parents make sure that they have one. You understand? And it's also desensitized, making it very common. And from what I understand, it's legal in Cape Town to smoke at home. I could be corrected. Can anyone correct me if I'm wrong? Edmund, Leanne, Sophia, anyone?
Yes, it is legal now to smoke. Even here in Vanderbilt, where we are staying, currently Meyerton, but in Meyerton, yeah, we've got 4 shops that sells it over the counter, and you don't even need a prescription for it. You just go in and you say, listen here, I want a gummy, and then they'll give you a gummy. They'll even ask you like how many milligrams do you want it in. They sell the oil, they sell the actual, I don't know what you call it, wheat leaves. I don't know what you call it if you want to smoke it. The pips, the pips that you can smoke, and then you can also buy it in the oil and in a gummy form. Oh yeah, and in a juice form or a shot form. So the shot form, it's just like a small tube, and then you just take it like as a drink, and then you just chuck it,
Thank
and
you
then
very
you
much.
get high
So
from it.
yeah, thank you very much. So here the question is, why do we categorize it as illegal when it is so legal? Anyway, it's a problem. Whatever it is, a problem. Cannabis contains THC, tetrahydrocannabinol. It's. I mean, try and say that when you're high, which acts on cannabinoid receptors, producing a mix of depressant, stimulant, and hallucinogenic effects. So the examples are marijuana, that's weed. Hashish is a compressed type of weed, and obviously the hash oil that they sell by the shops. And again, the effects are just relaxation, euphoria, altered perception, anxiety, and paranoia. Paranoia is like, go and check the fridge. This I've experienced with another person where they were staying with us and every sound affected them. Every sound. Now, what we need to understand, and I'll get to it even more later, is that when the person smokes it and they become addicted to it, they need it constantly and they become an irritation to us. So this old lady, she passed away, may her soul rest in peace, but she was staying with us in every single sound. And the thing that she was high on was terpenes. So that is over-the-counter things. Your Bronclear, your Alcofalex, and codeine stuff, these are all over-the-counter things. And now also Dacha is over-the-counter. And then you get your inhalant. Some people with no defaming of any petrol attendants, they are really helpful to us. But some people want to work there to sniff the petrol. Some people sniff glue, and it causes dizziness, it causes euphoria. But one of the biggest problem of this and all of them is they cause permanent damage to the body, especially the brain and the lungs, depending on what you're using. So these are not good stuff. Let's go to the last one of this section. Number 7. Dissociatives, right? They distort perceptions of sight and sound and produce feelings of detachment from the environment and self. You sort of have an out-of-body feeling. You stand there, like, you know how in the movies when a person passes away and passes on, then the spirit comes out and they actually watch themselves. I remember the name of a drug that the people used in drug rehabs. I just can't get it now, but when it comes, I will tell you what's the name. Sophia, if you can help on that. But yeah, they actually use it, and you can actually feel the out of body, and you see yourself lying there, etc. And you just detach from everything and from reality, especially. Can we go on to the next slide? How are we on time? So, as we mentioned, we went through the detail of all these drugs, but the most common drugs is definitely alcohol, cannabis, tuk, niaupé. If you want to say it in French, niaupé or niaupé, heroin, and prescription misuse. I just want to touch on niaupé. Niaupé is a very cheap drug, and that is why it's so commonly available. They use a little bit of dacha, they use a little bit of retex, they use a little bit of different things. One person told me that they even use fluorescent lights in it. How true it is, I don't know, but he gave me a very good description of what happens. He says, when a person uses niaupé, right? Niaupé, like your dacha is a naturally grown. Cocaine is naturally grown. Poppy seeds naturally grown. Your body has antibodies in it to fight it. But niaupé cannot, your body doesn't have anything in it to fight the fluorescent tubes or the different chemicals that they use. And what happens is, again, I stand to be corrected, but this is what was told to me from one of the people running a drug rehab. He says, what happens is the joints lock. Once the joints lock, the only way to unlock the joint and the pain that comes, the subsequent pain that comes with it, is to take another hit. And another hit is $30. Now, in one of the places that we lived, the guy sold a brand new geyser for $30. Brand new geyser, and his door also for $30. So he got two hits, that's 30 and 30-60. But really, this is the rot it causes in society, and the family has to live with it. Now without hot water in winter and without a door also. So yeah, niaupé is something that is filling our streets. If we can get a way to actually stop it, it will be a great thing, whether we create a group's awareness, however it may be, but we need to try and stop it as soon as possible. Next slide,
Leanne
please.
has a question.
Yes.
Leanne?
I don't actually have a question. I've just got something to add to the rehab question about the drug that they give in rehab. It's called Valium. So Valium is supposed to help seizures and withdrawn symptoms, but it put extra drugs in your system. So it gives you an extra drug to calm down your cravings for, let's say, for example, heroin. So they give you Valium in rehab. So it calms your mind, but it adds extra drugs to your system.
Yes, you're correct. But there's another one as well. It's called ibogaine. That's the one that gives you the out of body sensation, where you
Okay,
feel
so-
like you're actually ibogaine.
Can I come in?
Yes, no problem.
So there's a variety of that type of drug that you're speaking of. I can't get to the specific name that you're speaking of, but there are a variety of such drugs that are called receptor blockers. So
Awesome.
whichever receptors get opened by the drug, whether it's uppers or highers, etc., the drug that you're speaking of, the type of drug that you're speaking of, that comes and closes that receptors and stops the craving, stops the yearning and the wanting and the physical reactions that you have to it, are all actually under the category of receptor blockers.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay, we can go. This is just a small graph to show us the substance use distribution. As we can see, alcohol is the most, and then is cannabis, and so on and so forth. Next. So, like we said, again, alcohol, major cause of death. I have some statistics here on, if I'm not mistaken, 60,000 people die every year because of alcohol. 60,000. That is a huge amount of funerals. Imagine how much the funeral homes make. Wow. Just on alcohol. And then SAB go and make their own money. So yeah. So cannabis, most used drug, youth heavily affected. And we explained how the youth are affected. You must remember, when you're high, you're cool, according to a group of friends. We need to go and change the mindset of the children and say that it's not actually cool, you are causing harm. But when they're high already, right from the grassroots, we need to stop our children and be with our children how to stop them from actually going there, because it's very hard to actually pull them out. For example, the cocaine, your rocks, these things are 100% addictive. This statistic we got from Michalisburg Rehab, they're 100% addictive, which means one too many, you can't actually pull them back. And our youth, for fun, they will try the best thing, and then the next best thing, and then the next best thing. Next slide, please. What are the risk factors? Obviously, poverty, because you have to pay for it. And you know, these kind merchants, they will give it to you on account. They will give it to you on account. They will put your car on account. You know, never mind, you can leave your car here as collateral. You can leave your watch as collateral. You can leave your spouse as collateral, depending on what you call it, what they want. They don't mind giving you on account. And for them, you're not blacklisted. They will come and take your life one day, but you're not blacklisted by them, because they somehow or the other, you're going to steal. You're going to take your father's Rolex, you're going to take your father's Casio also, but you're going to go make sure you pay so that you can get the next hit. And then the trauma that it causes. I remember the one guy said, the boy shot his mother in the shoulder, and another man shot his wife in the knee. How do you recover from that? How do you actually start living a proper life? Then the abuse that happens. The guy shot his wife in the knee. This is abuse. This is part of the GBV that we speak about. And because they're not getting money, they start hitting the person. And in the mental health, there's one person that's in Michalisburg that was tripping for at least 3 months non-stop. I don't know if he's still tripping, but yeah, he was tripping for at least 3 months. And then the risk factors of peer pressure. They will call you a chicken, they will call you everything, and they will make sure that you get, most of the time, because they don't want to go down alone. So they want you to have it. So how are the signs of addictions? We obviously need to start with our children, whether it be at school, whether it be at home. Behavior change. You can see, and you have to be an observant parent or guardian to see what the child is up to. Be involved with the child. If we're not involved with the child, we'll never be able to know what their actual behaviors are. So when you see that behavior change, something's up. There's a red flag here. What is happening? Why are you suddenly doing this? Why are you suddenly in isolation? Why do you need to be by yourself? Why is there so much of perfume? And when you don't have money or something's not normal, why are you so aggressive? And then you look at the schoolwork. Why is there such a decline in your grades? Some of them are sharp enough to keep their grades up. But all these things put together, we need to actually see what the children are doing in order to know that. But not just the children. Even in a spouse, or even in family members. Why is this person behaving like this all of a sudden, and want to be in isolation and sudden aggression and decline in their socializing? There has to be some problem behind it. Elizabeth, you got your hands up?
I think I wanted to, I don't know if I'm still on the right track. I only wanted to add on the previous slide, the risk factors of being addicted. You
No
will
problem. I can add
let
it, ma'am.
me know if I'm still on the right track.
Yes, no problem.
Due to addiction, you end up like you want to fit your cravings, remember. So
Yes.
you end up selling like stealing from other people.
Yes.
You steal from other people and then you sell whatever that you stole, in order to get money and to buy whatever that you want to take.
Yes. You must know first you're gonna deplete whatever you have of your own. So you sell your phone and suddenly you were robbed. And that robber was so kind enough to allow you to go with your shoes. And you know, there's different things that we've come across. And first it's your phone, then it's your shoes. That robber was so kind enough not to beat you up. And then so once everything in your own possession is depleted, you're gonna go to whoever's closest to you. And at that point, you don't know the difference between an enemy and your friend. I don't know if that makes sense, ma'am. Impacts on family, obviously, we say because of the addiction and because of the theft, all of this, there's going to definitely be conflict. There's going to be neglect. Neglect suddenly because you are in a problem. You must remember it's a whole triangle of problems, and that we get hooked to. When the person in the family, be it the father, be it the mother, the child, whoever is addicted, it affects the entire family. So at some point, they're also going to be tired of dealing with this. How much do I deal with your problem? How much do I? So you leave the person to their own self to do whatever they need to do, and they're neglected. Now when they feel neglected, it's a pity party, and they just go back to whatever it's a whole strain on the family that we can't actually understand unless you're in it. And may God keep us safe, and we don't want to understand, but we can try and help whoever possible. And then obviously the financial strain and then the violence when they're not getting what they want. So what is our role as social workers? And that I'm going to put to Elizabeth to answer.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think as social workers, our first foremost role in a situation like this one is you need to, first of all, you need to understand the clients from his or her own perspective, support him, and then refer him to those other service providers or stakeholders where she can be assisted. Based on the needs, you will have to identify the problem, what might be the problem, and then whatever that the clients need.
Elizabeth, you are a social worker, right? You're a qualified social worker, if I'm not mistaken. All right. One question that comes to mind when I was going through this is, how do we help that person who doesn't want to be helped?
You cannot really help someone who doesn't want to be helped. She doesn't see anything wrong with whatever that she's going through. How are you going to help her? I think you can continue counseling the person. You can continue giving basic and advanced counseling in order for the person to realize that I have a problem. Most of them, they are in denial. They don't want to accept that this is the problem that I'm having. So it's very difficult to help someone who doesn't want to be helped.
100%. And so even, I'll thank you, ma'am. I'll continue from here. You're going to identify it, and then you're going to say that, you know, this person is addicted to Dacha, is Nyaupe, whatever the case is. And then you're going to obviously seek counseling through it. But it's going to be very difficult if that person doesn't want to change. If they don't want to actually make the steps to move forward, no matter who says what, you're not going to be able to change that person. the first path to recovery is actually accepting that I have a problem. Other than that, we'll never be able to change wherever our sicknesses are. And then once the person is in recovery, this is a very important part, is family support. Because it's affecting the entire family needs to be set down and discuss how are we going to avoid triggers, but triggers are very, very difficult to avoid. How are we going to support the person? How are we going to actually help the person when this person is going off track? What are we going to do? One of the things that rehabs always administer is that they should never use a cell phone after they come out of rehab, right? For how long do we do that? Also, you know that an addict knows at least a week to a month before they're going to relapse. Who is their sponsor, so-called sponsor, that is going to help them? And even in the rehab, some of the rehabs actually have drugs in them. Are those rehabs that we refer them to legit? Are they actually rehabs that are going to help people, or are they just there to make money? And then obviously community education, workshops, and different, where the Coca-Cola truck goes and they actually help people and they have different things. We need to get in all of these initiatives. School programs, parent support, youth engagement, faith community support. I remember when I was living in Boksburg and I joined the ANC meetings. Don't shoot me. ANC meetings. And I was sitting with all pastors. And one of the things, so I was the imam of the mosque in Boksburg. And one of the discussions that we had, we said that we living in this community, we have the exact same problems. When I say exact same problems, just because they were Christian didn't mean that they had different problems. We had the exact same problems. So we came to a common understanding that when you go on Sunday, you're going to speak about drugs. When I go to the mosque on Friday, I'm going to speak about drugs. But we're going to have a common topic and we're going to address it to all the people involved. So the faith-based institutions are very helpful in getting the message across. Now comes a problem where we are too backwards. So because we are backwards, and it's going to be a problem on the youth. We're not cool enough. It's not a problem. As long as you don't take my money, as long as you don't use my car, as long as all these things are fine, we don't mind being backwards. So you got to be strict, but you got to be supportive as well. Sternness doesn't mean ugliness. We don't have to be ugly about it, but we have to be stern. Next slide. Obviously, treatment, detox, it takes about 3 days to 1 week, depending on the person, depending on how much they use at the detox. Some of them use steam rooms, some of them use saunas, but the detox, and as Leanne also mentioned, they use Valium, and Ibogaine was the one. They use the different drugs. There's one rehab in Durban that don't use anything at all. They don't use any drug at all. They call Rauf, R-A-U-F. I had lots of objections to their method, but I found it to be very effective. So yeah, there's different people have different styles. The 12 steps also is very important, but detox. First thing the person needs to go is detox. It must come out of his system. That takes from at least three days to a week to a month, depending on the person's use and habits. And then you have the rehab and therapy, support groups, and aftercare. The aftercare is so important. Again, as we've mentioned before, the aftercare, the support, all these things need to be on track, on par. Because if you don't have the proper aftercare, the person ultimately will relapse. And remember, relapse is not because the person wants to. because the person has to. It becomes a need of the body and not necessarily just a pleasure. In conclusion, is there anything before we go in conclusion? Anything anyone else likes to add? Tepiso?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Sophia?
All good, thank you.
Maybeng? Moya Beng? Lisbeth?
I think the only thing that I can add is that it's not helping the situation for the person coming from the rehab to be going to the very same environment,
Hmm.
because she is or he's likely to relapse. So I think environment also, the surroundings also plays an important role when it comes to recovery.
You bring up an excellent point, because let's say, for argument's sake, if the mother was toxic and this child went onto drugs to cope, as a coping mechanism because of a narcissistic mother. Now, when she comes back, if the mother wasn't counseled also, she's definitely going to relapse. It's inevitable, because the situation was not fixed, and that was the root. So the environment plays a huge role. Obviously, as the rehab, you need to find out where you're coming from, what was your situation. That will be on you as the rehab to actually get all this information. As a social worker, this will be on us to get all this information. Where's this person from? What were they doing? What caused them to go on it? What was the first time? All these things. Anyone else? Leanne, anything to add?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, there's a Hendrik and there's a Edmund.
That's me. I'm Hendrik. I'm presenting.
And Edmund?
I think that is Nick
Okay.
or the son in.
Okay, so in conclusion, addiction is a problem, 100%, but it is treatable. We do not write anyone off. And many, many people who have been addicted have come out as excellent human beings. And we all try and strive to be good human beings. Prevention, we can go a whole class on just prevention. Prevention is better than cure. I remember learning this in primary school. You rather stay away from it instead of going into it and then community involvement is essential. We can't do it alone. We cannot fight the syndicates alone. We cannot fight the people selling alone. We have to get the community involved. And if we can do that, whether it be the CPF, whether it be the cops, let me repeat myself, whether it be the cops, if we can do that, and not all cops are bad, I'm sorry, not all cops. Some are excellent people as well. And get the authorities involved and try and make a difference. If we can make a difference to just one family at a time, it will be an achievement. It will definitely be achieved. We can't change the entire world at once, but we can change one family at a time, one person at a time, and we start with ourselves as well. Thank you very much, all of you, for your contribution. Thank you for all the insight that you have given. I hope that this was beneficial, and I hope to see you the next time as soon as possible, I think on the 3rd of March. Edmund, you can switch over the recording.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shakir. Excellent presentation.
Thank
We will
you,
call on you
everyone.
again.
Good night.
Thanks, Leanne, for your assistance.
It's a pleasure.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.